Welcome, future colleagues. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for this explainer on Study Block 2 of the Toronto Shelter Standards. As your trainer and coach, my main goal today is to help you see way beyond the manual. We're going to look at exactly how dry technical policy actually translates into vital, real-world human connection. Just picture the multicultural community spaces, the youth, the seniors, the LGBTQ2S+ individuals you're going to be working alongside very soon. Your role in their lives is literally critical, and this is where we learn how to do it right. So here is our roadmap for today's session. First up, a quick welcome to Study Block 2. Then we'll hit anti-oppressive practice and rights, followed by the technical intake pathway. After that, we'll dive into operationalizing gender inclusion, and finally, we'll wrap up with the Coach's Corner for some much-needed interview prep. All right, Section 1, welcome to Study Block 2. Let's jump right in and establish the anchor concepts of this work. I really need you to commit these next concepts to memory. We must purposefully repeat and constantly lean on 3 core pillars. Number 1, anti-oppressive practice. Number 2, client-centered dignity. And number 3, inclusive intake operations. These 3 pillars have to guide every single interaction, every bed assignment, and honestly, every decision you make in a shelter setting. When you find yourself overwhelmed on a busy shift, and trust me, you will, coming back to these 3 pillars will absolutely always point you in the right direction. Moving right along to Section 2, Anti-Oppressive Practice and Rates. This is where we look at Chapters 5, 6, and 7. What's truly non-negotiable here is how this standard explicitly centers harm reduction and trauma-informed care. These aren't just buzzwords. They are the primary drivers of your daily service delivery. Chapter 5 makes it incredibly clear that accepting and respecting a client's inherent dignity is your main job description. We are welcoming individuals who are often in deep crisis, and we are tasked with providing a space that is fundamentally free from judgment, no exceptions. And, a huge part of that dignity involves actually giving clients a voice. Chapter 7 outlines the complaints and appeals process. Now, it's easy to look at this as just more paperwork, but a transparent complaints process isn't just bureaucracy. It's a fundamental tool for equity that empowers the very people we serve. It guarantees clients can speak up about their environment or how they're being treated without any fear of reprisal. Nobody should be scared of losing their bed just because they spoke up. Okay, Section 3, the technical intake pathway. Let's look at getting people safely inside by applying those ethical values to the workflow in Chapter 8. This chronological workflow maps out the entire journey from a client's very first contact, all the way through to their safe admission. First, we have intake, where we assess needs and log them into the Shelter Management Information System, which we just call SMIS. Then comes assessment, where we screen for accommodations or disabilities. Next up is referral, where we check bed availability in SMIS and, crucially, confirm it by picking up the phone. And finally, admission, assigning that bed in real time. Now, the big takeaway here is learning how to balance the strict data entry requirements of the SMIS system with a conversational, human-first approach. Let's be real, you cannot simply fire off questions like a police interrogator. Doing that seriously risks re-traumatizing the person sitting across from you. Instead, your intake operations must be inclusive and collaborative. You've got to weave that mandatory data collection naturally into a conversation, one that builds safety and trust right from the jump. Let's shift gears to Section 4, operationalizing gender inclusion. We're focusing intensely here on protecting client safety and sovereignty, especially for LGBTQ2S+ individuals, as mandated in Section 8.3. By anchoring ourselves in this specific definition from Chapter 3, we remember a core directive of the standards. We must always ask for a client's gender identity rather than assuming it based on their appearance or what's written on their ID. It is entirely about recognizing the client as the ultimate authority on who they are. They know themselves best, period. To actually support transgender self-identification and ensure absolute safety during room assignments, you've got to take these exact steps. You accept the identity as defined by the client. You always use their chosen name and pronoun. If they have safety concerns about a communal sleeping area, you must accommodate requests for a gender-neutral or private room whenever possible. And this is huge. Hormones are life-saving prescribed medications. They are never, ever to be confiscated as prohibited substances. All right, team, Section 5, Coach's Corner. Interview prep. It is time to test your readiness by applying what we've learned to the high-stakes interview scenarios you're definitely going to face. Before we jump right into the questions, just consider the rigorous expectations of the actual training matrix. The system requires mastery of SMIS, customer service, and anti-oppression very early in your role, often within the first 3 to 6 months. Hiring managers are looking for candidates who already understand the gravity of these requirements. They want to see that you're ready to hit the ground running. Consider this high-focus interview question carefully, keeping our anchor concepts of dignity and inclusive intake operations front and center. A hiring panel wants to know you won't just turn into a robot hiding behind a computer screen when the pressure is on. So your answer must emphasize explaining the why behind the data collection. You would tell the interviewer that you prioritize the client's immediate physical and emotional safety above all else. You transparently explain why SMIS needs this data to actually help them. You maintain eye contact, you use that conversational tone we talked about, and you offer breaks. You basically make sure the client feels safe, respected, and totally in control throughout the entire process. Okay, here is another critical scenario testing your understanding of client rights and anti-oppressive practice from Chapter 7. Honestly, this is a stress test question to see if you will instinctively protect the institution or if you will protect the client. You must demonstrate that you would aggressively protect the client's right to complain and faithfully follow the documented process. You tell the panel you'd receive the complaint professionally, assure the client there will be zero reprisal, offer them a plain language copy of the appeals policy, and document it thoroughly. You also make sure they have the contact info for the ombudsman to escalate if they feel unheard. This proves exactly how you'll act as a champion for equity. To wrap this all up, always remember that you are the living, breathing bridge between these massive technical standards and the dignity of the actual person standing right in front of you. When you step onto that shelter floor, you hold someone's temporary home, their safety, and their rights in your hands. So I leave you with this final thought as you prepare to start your career. With all the data entry, the complex policies, and the incredibly fast-paced environment, how will you make the person in front of you feel truly seen today?